What's up, I'm Romualdo, this is a video for Chess Society, hope you like it. Vladimir Kramnik doesn't need presentations, has been several times world champion, is still number 3 in the world with 28-11 points. The black is Sanan Shugirov, a Russian grandmaster born in 1993. In this game we really see a strategic domination by Kramnik, who absolutely crushes his opponent from the very early stage of the game. Knight f3, c5 and now e3. This is a trendy move nowadays. White keeps his options open as he's ready to play either d4, c4 or b3 and enter a Kali system, an English Open in all arts opening. Knight f6, d4, g6. g6 is slightly an accurate move. The best moves are d5 and e6, the black, white's d5. Now with d5, white's is ready to change the structure. Now he transposes into a better version of the Benoni defense and he's ready to play knight c3, bishop c4, e4 and castle kingside. Bishop g7, knight c3, castle. Now look at the bishop here. On e2 is quite passive, on d3 there are these two pawns that block his movements, so the best square is obviously c4. d6, castle, rook e8, e4, and now e6. e6 is a mistake. Black is mixing up different plans here. When your pawn is on c2 instead of c4, you should probably aim to expand on the queen side with a6 and b5. e6 instead allows white to trade the pawn on e5 and put a piece there and use that square as an outpost. Rook e1. Now knight takes d5 is possible. It seems that the pawn on e4 is hanging, but if you take with the rook, knight takes f6 is obviously gaining a rook for free. Instead, if you play knight takes e4, you can play knight to g5, attacking the knight, and then after a few trades, obviously white is better. You can take the bishop on c8 here. So instead, the game continued with knight to c6. Now bishop g5, avoiding the trade of the knight on d5, pinning the knight to the queen, and white's simply better here. Bishop e6, c3. Now blocking the two squares for the knight. Notice how the knight on the b4 would harass the white's knight on d5, and blocking also the diagonal for the g7 bishop. Takes, queen c7 upping the knight, and now bishop takes f6, obviously because you want to avoid the trade on d5. Knight to d2, obviously white wants to reroute this knight to d5 at the right moment. Rook to d8 and queen b3, putting pressure on both f7 and b7 and stopping black's b5. Now a6, a4, rook back to b8, so rook to d8 was a mistake, of course. And now knight to c4, knight to e5, and a5, fixing the pawn structure, fixing the weakness on b6. And now black has two weaknesses, b6 and d6. Takes. Now b5. b5 is a decisive mistake. After b5, you see that black's position will start to crumble because the two weaknesses now are d6 and a6 after the en passant move, obviously. Rook takes, rook to e2, defending the pawn, rook to b8, rook to a2, rook to b5, g3, important move that blocks any back rank issues, king to g7, and rook takes a6. Now trade, queen to a4. This is a very logical move that threatens rook to a7 and f7, which was weak from before. Now, of course, black has to stop this threat, so queen to d8, rook to a7, bishop to e7. White now simply frees the square for his queen on a7 with tempo, playing rook to d7, queen to a7. Now white's piece is simply better. Notice how the rook on b2 is silly. King to f8, defending the bishop on e7, king to g2, h6, and now bishop to c6, bishop to g5 is really a blunder, queen to e6. And now can you spot white last move that made black resign? Pause the need if you need to. Obviously the answer is bishop to d5. If you like this video, consider subscribing for more contents to come. Bye.